Welcome to Alice Just Alice 55. You're listening to an AI-narrated audiobook version of my original story, The Unclaimed Werewolf, an Unbound Wolves novel, written by Alice N. Smith. Chapter 8, Where the Boundary is Measured. Nora smelled them before she saw them, not close, not careless, but there, threaded into the morning air where it didn't belong, thin enough that it would have gone unnoticed if she hadn't already decided to pay attention. She stopped at the edge of the ravine and let her breath slow. The wind was moving uphill, steady and obliging. Good. She angled her path so it would carry her scent ahead of her and waited a moment longer than necessary. Long enough for the message to arrive before she did. Morcel paused beside her, tail lowering, ears forward. He didn't growl, he watched. The scent ahead shifted almost immediately, tightened, sharpened. Awareness, not panic. They knew. She moved downhill with the wind, letting the forest carry her presence instead of hiding it. Leaves shifted under her feet, but not enough to matter. The forest had always made room for her. It didn't for them. The first mistake was visible where the ravine narrowed. Stone turned just enough to show its pale underside. Soil pressed flat where no animal would have stepped. Someone had corrected themselves too late. Careful, but not careful enough, she thought to herself. Morsel sniffed once, then let out one soft bark. She followed the trail without hurrying. That mattered. Haste would have signaled uncertainty. She didn't have any. The scouts, because that's what they were moving wide, mapping edges without committing. They were trying not to claim anything. That irritated her more than arrogance would have. She shifted as she moved, the change quick and efficient. Fur settling over muscle as her senses narrowed to slope, distance, and scent. By the time the trees thinned ahead, she already knew where they were standing. She stepped into the open. Neither of them jumped. They were already facing her, bodies set, weight balanced the way people stood when they'd known something was coming and couldn't stop it. One had his hand near a weapon he hadn't drawn. The other had angled himself for retreat without turning his back. Their scent confirmed it. They had been waiting. Nora stayed in wolf form and didn't bare her teeth. She didn't need to. She shifted her weight forward, one deliberate step pressing into the open ground, and both scouts went still as if the command had been spoken aloud. Morcel moved to her side, not growling, just present. His body lined up with her leg as if it had always belonged there. Their eyes flicked to him despite themselves. Nora's ears flattened. A low growl rolled out of her, sharp enough to drag their attention back where it belonged. Then she shifted. Fur sank away, bone and muscle folding back into human shape with the same smooth control she had used to enter the clearing. She stood between them and Morcel, bare skin chilled by the morning air, her expression colder than her teeth had been. "Look at me," she said. They did. Up close, the differences were obvious. Same bones as the man from the night before. Same wrongness in the air around them. But where he'd been contained, these two were taut with effort, holding themselves together by discipline rather than ease. They were young, not green but not settled. "Turn around," she said. "Leave." The one on the left, dark hair, a scar faded pale against his cheek, cleared his throat. "We're here to observe." "I know," Nora said. "You're done." The other scout shifted his footing, testing ground he already knew wouldn't help him. His gaze slid past her again, measuring distance, cover, numbers. He didn't like what he found. "We were told to stay on the edge," he said carefully. "You crossed it," she replied. "That was your choice." Silence stretched, tight and uncomfortable. Morcel sat, gaze locked on the scout, whose hand hovered near his weapon. His tail thumped once, slow and deliberate. The scout swallowed and forced his hand away. Nora watched the movement and filed it away. "You've seen enough," she said. "If you come back, you won't be standing where you are now." The dark-haired scout hesitated. We don't want trouble. You're already in it, Nora said. You just haven't decided how much. She waited. Finally, they backed away, not running, not turning their backs, but retreating with careful, practiced steps. They kept their eyes on her, their movements slow enough to show respect without inviting pursuit. They didn't make it 10 paces before one of them stepped wrong. A branch snapped underfoot, loud as a gunshot in the quiet. Both scouts froze. Nora didn't move. She let the silence sit there, heavy enough to press against their chests. Go, she said. They went. She watched until the forest closed behind them and their scent thinned into nothing worth tracking. Only then did she let her shoulders ease. Morcel looked up at her and wagged, proud. That was restraint, she told him. Don't get used to it. She rubbed her face with both hands, grounding herself in skin and bone. The encounter left something sour behind. Not fear, but confirmation. The man from the night before hadn't come alone. That much was clear now. She looked toward the deeper forest, where her trails thinned and the land stopped answering to her as cleanly. She never needed to think much past that line before. She did now. Nora crouched and pressed her forehead briefly to Morcel's. They're measuring, she said quietly, trying to decide what I am. Morcel huffed and leaned into her. She straightened. They'll get it wrong, she said.